Icarus was a boy with wings that touched the open sky. With wax and feathers and a bit of string, wore the chance to try. Oh, everyone knows he fell. Now that's the part they tell. But something else is true. Before he fell, he flew. In the canvas stands a plowing man, shepherds and ships at sea. Take no notice of the falling boy, his small tragedy. Everyone turns away from his forsaken cry. Are we so afraid that we might fly too high? We're old enough that we both know how this story could end. Both of us have tried and failed, tried and tried again. Now we stand by the fire and say these vows, pray the words hold true. Will this love melt away or last our whole lives through? Oh, baby, put on your wings. Let's jump out to the sun. Our fears will melt away. This flight has just begun. Icarus. Icarus was a boy with wings, touched the open sky.
Welcome everyone to a reasonably spontaneous conversation with my friend Kiya Heartwood. Thank you, Kiya.
My pleasure.
What I love about this song is that for so much of my life, I had taken the wrong lesson from the story. Maybe not the wrong one, but certainly a lower lesson from a higher story. And when I heard you, and I had this in the back of my consciousness, and then when I heard you first sing this song, I went, yes, it was He Flew. Where did that song come from? Tell me the history of it.
It's got a lot of different layers. I was talking to a friend of mine who got divorced. Her husband, her ex, died pretty close to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of failure in a relationship is where, and I saw a poem, I can't remember the poet, that also took that kind of one, and I was like, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, you know, like things work as long as they work, and then when they don't work anymore, you change it. But you don't have to you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? You can,
exactly.
You can appreciate what worked for the time that it worked. You know, because there's so many different layers of making choices. Everybody's making choices all the time.
Isn't that, and what a time we're living in. It feels like that we're at an inflection point for humanity.
Oh,
that we've
definitely.
come out, now you're in ministerial training, right?
Yes.
And so you're interning, you're getting your
Yeah, I'll be I've kind of been doing the work for a really long time, but I wanted to get ordained. I'm getting ordained as a Unitarian Universalist.
Yes.
Which does not have a creed, so you could believe whatever you whatever your spiritual calling would be.
Exactly.
So you don't say that I believe God the Father Almighty, but you could be a person
Yep.
who believed that and be a Unitarian. I like a lot of the work that people are doing in Unitarian Universalism, and I'm particularly interested in art ministry. So playing, writing songs is all part of that, but also helping other people make art.
How is that not the creative process? If we talk about it from a traditional religious perspective, we're talking about the creator.
Right.
So all you're doing is creating.
Yes.
You're just putting it into the verb
Yes.
form, right?
Right. So yeah, to talk in Christian terms, it would be like, well, we're made in God's image, and then you're just you're emulating your creator. You're
Right.
a creator. You're creating. What could be more beautiful about that? Right?
Exactly. And so then in the art, in the creation of the product, or the creation of music, and the creation of physicality, of the outpicturing of whatever it is in the consciousness that we have, and then suddenly it's there.
Right. What if you take the capitalism out of it? What if you take the consumerism out of
Right.
art, and you just, instead of like worrying about, am I good enough that I can make a living playing or whatever?
Exactly.
What if you've got the desire to play the clarinet or to sing, or it doesn't really matter if you are judged by other people to be good or bad at that
Exactly.
thing, because if you're doing that thing, you're an artist. If you're making art, you're an artist,
Exactly.
right? And so what if you encourage people and heal them up? Because there are so many people who are busted over this issue. You know, somebody told them they couldn't. I had a 8th grade choir director that didn't like how I sang and told me I couldn't sing. If I'd listened to them, then I would have missed a whole big part of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Touring, writing, working, doing all the work as a musician, and then working up with the orchestra you're involved in, and exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Art's kind of my religion. So
Yeah. But I cannot. But that's what I love about the idea of what religion is.
Right.
Because if religion is, rather than the destination, for me it's the vehicle. It's like, all right. So it gives me a way to talk about something that resonates particularly with me, and I could be Muslim, I could be Hindu, I could be Buddhist, I could be an atheist. It doesn't
Yes.
matter. It's a vehicle that
Right.
gets me to something that is less encumbered with my own self limitations.
Right. Exactly. And at the same time, what we believe, you know, like we're taught to, whatever religion we were raised in, if you're taught that is the way and that is the only way,
There's no other way, and you cannot. Exactly.
right? Then you have to worry, because what if they teach you to hate somebody else?
Yep.
Or then you have to worry a little bit about it. So the thing I remember the whole time I'm in seminary is that religions are made up by people. And then I try to not to get too worked up about it.
It's almost like my experience, or what I think of it is it's like, you know how we would play telephone,
Yes.
and by the time the story gets down to a number of people, you've lost what the original story was. Someone had this extraordinary experience and connection, and then a whole bunch of other people began talking about it and passing along the stories, and by the time it's got done, it's amazing that it's as close to the story original
Yeah.
intent that was
Exactly.
there.
Yeah. I love this show. I've been binge watching this show called One Strange Rock. Have you seen it?
No, what's this?
Well, Will Smith is the narrator, and the guy who filmed it, it looks like as beautiful as any National Geographic movie you've ever seen. But he did Black Swan, so he's a really great
Yes.
director. I forget his name. But it's a television show. But he interviews 8 astronauts that have over 1,000 hours in space.
On the ISS, right?
Right. And they're looking at the Earth. And then it's just incredible footage of actual things and how amazing the earth is.
Yeah.
It's like Earth Church. So I highly
Yes.
recommend it anyway. But yeah, it's like the ethics that you believe in, like if you're taught to think that the earth is not godly, it's
Yes.
worldly,
Right.
and you're supposed to go off to some heaven and get raptured, and it doesn't
Right.
matter what you do with the earth, then the earth is going to suffer. I mean, I think that's the
course it
situation
is.
we're in. Right. So if you give if you the opposite, and you honor the earth and you have an I-thou relationship with the earth, then the possibilities of having a sustainable, happy planet with lots of people where we're in the web of life as opposed to on top, the superior beings.
You know, yeah, that's the way I feel about it, because I don't know how, if, let's just say that whatever this thing that we have a three-letter word for, that we call God or,
Right.
or higher power, whatever it is, if it is omnipresent, then what is not God?
Yeah. I'm with you.
I mean,
I'm with you. I know, it's great. I mean, just one little shift in your thinking and all your ethics and all the way you make decisions and all your whole life changes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff I'm into. That's why I'm in.
I'm so glad. We were talking with Bradley before the show, and I was talking about how in my own personal journey has been one through of self-loathing. That when I was growing up, I honest to goodness, I mean, I was born in 1948, and during the time when I was growing up, white, male, privileged,
Right.
very Southern. I mean, I saw from my side Jim Crow. I
Right.
saw white and colored water fountains. I
Yes.
saw separate separate entrances, movie entrances,
Right.
and even though, but I couldn't quite make sense of it. But I couldn't also articulate. I knew there was something wrong there, but hell, I was white, male, privileged. So I have to tell you, that's a position when you're white, male, and privileged that you just go, well, that's really sad about that, but it's pretty nice to be me.
Yeah, except you're missing out a lot.
Totally.
Too.
I was completely
Yeah.
missing out. But anyway, but gradually as my consciousness evolved, as I began to say, but I realized that I was what I thought is that, oh my God, everybody else has the playbook. They got the manual. I must be the one broken. So you take that in there and you say that, and I say that over and over again in my own head in one way or another, and it begins and it's almost like a nuclear fusion. It's like it catches fire. And so now this self-loathing is burning in me. And even though I will do everything in God's name to keep you from knowing about it, that's what's going on. And that's been my healing process.
Yeah.
Does that journey at all
Yeah.
resonate with the people that come in that you do in counseling and that work
Sure.
with that process?
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody's working on different stuff,
Yeah.
but a lot of it's the same stuff.
Isn't it amazing? Because there is I love the word atonement,
Yeah.
because it's at one meant.
Yeah.
Just coming back to this one, and when I get there, it's like when I hear you play, or I hear you sing. I just feel so peaceful.
Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, I think atonement in the Christian sense, where you are, you've got the hair shirt on, or you're, whacking yourself. It's not really helping anybody.
No.
Right. And I think we have to move past that, especially when we're talking about privilege and we're talking about white supremacy. We're talking about,
Yep.
patriarchy. All these
Exactly.
things that are really, no matter on what end of it you are, the privileged or the underprivileged side,
Yep.
marginalized or unmarginalized, it's not good for either side.
It doesn't help, and this is what I'm so glad to hear you say that, because and to talk about this, because any time that I'm in a place where when it's either me or you,
Yes.
and not me and you,
Yes.
it doesn't matter what my position is, I lose.
Right.
We all lose. But especially the minute I'm having to defend a pie that is only so large, well, of course we're going to be afraid. But what if 1 + 1 was greater than 2?
Yeah.
What if synergy was the principle that the universe was founded on? That's how it comes up, that there's plenty and there's going to be more. How do we do that?
Well, just sitting with the fear and allowing yourself to have the curiosity about, well, yeah, maybe that would be uncomfortable, but I wonder what it would be like if we just divided the pie up in more slices. I mean, or make more pies.
Let's make more pies.
Made more
exactly.
pies. Exactly. So, yeah.
There's more pie. Why don't
Yeah.
we invite us all in and let's just make more pies?
Yeah. My grandfather, when I told him I wanted to be a folk singer, he said, Kiya, you're a communist. So I'm aware. I have social democratic leanings for sure.
Yeah.
But it's kind of exciting. The whole, to me, you don't have to have that. It's almost bipolar. Like you have to be at one extreme or the other extreme.
No.
There's many ways to God.
wonderful.
There's many ways to work all this stuff out. And just getting where we can have a conversation about it.
Exactly.
And not have the white fragility of the conversation, like, oh, I have to, gosh, I was raised to be a racist, or I was
Yeah.
raised to be,
Exactly.
that's not going to get anybody anywhere. Anyway, I try to write songs about these things, and I'd certainly preach about them now. And, it's really pretty recently that decided to go to seminary, but part of the reason was I was doing the work, I like being a singer-songwriter and going around and sing. But the whole way art is in America, it's like there can only be one. We worship the young, we worship beautiful,
Exactly.
And why can't everybody play? I mean, like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to. Why? It's not necessarily the most fun work I ever had. Like, I never thought I was going to have enough money. I was pretty clear even at 9, 10 when I decided I was going to be a singer-songwriter that there wasn't any money in it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't important to me. I just want to be useful to other people. And so I was working by myself, through my 50s, working by myself. I think I was laying in a tent on the rugby pitch in England in the rain by myself. Nobody I knew was there. I was waiting to play a show. And I was like, why are you in this tent in England? What are you doing here? Is this the best way that you can help other people? Is this the best way to use your music? And I started shifting there. I changed my mind. And what's funny is now everything makes sense because I'm kind of this nerdy person that likes, I like theology. It's sort of fun for me. I like agriculture, sustainable agriculture, permaculture. I'm really interested in all those things. I went through a phase where I was really into space debris and how that was going to keep people from being able to leave the planet. Just strange, weird little things, and they don't make any sense. But when I went into the ministry, it all works. Music, everything. It's interesting.
I'm fascinated with that this is the time when historians are going to write about when we, as a species, left the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just it's a very interesting time.
Yeah. Well, okay. Like, they cannot build a biosphere yet.
Right.
Human beings don't know how the Earth works well enough that they can emulate it. Okay.
Exactly.
We don't even know how to do that. We don't really understand how plants work. We don't really understand how animals work. We don't understand how the atmosphere works.
No.
Okay. So perhaps that would be a good place to start. Have a
Yes.
little bit more respect for the place we are at, as opposed to trying to go to another place.
And I so agree, and because I don't see that as a that we're leaving the Titanic or trying to get out. But what I'm seeing is that and again, you have to understand, I am wired optimist.
Right. Me
I
too.
get up in the morning and I am wired an optimist, and I believe in the healing power of the earth if we just give it a little bit of chance and stop poisoning so much that it heals. It's very restorative, it can heal very quickly, but we have got to be part of the solution.
Yeah, we got to think. I saw a kid. I wish I knew their name. It was on Facebook, but it was a bunch of kids had worked on a problem of styrofoam and trying to figure out what to do with styrofoam because you can't recycle it. They figured out how to make that styrofoam into the kind of carbon filters that they use for water filtering. So they're taking care of two problems at the same time. And these kids are not even in high school yet.
Exactly.
I mean, good Lord. I think there's lots of opportunity. What we have to do is not despair. And we have to focus.
Exactly.
And everybody has to do the thing that they do. So I'm pretty good at talking and being philosophical.
Yeah.
And writing songs. So that's kind of where I'm putting my focus. You know, I teach other people about music a lot.
Yep.
But I don't have any scientific strengths. But I do have a sense of respect for the earth.
Exactly. And you know, and I think there's one sense of having of the science, because I think that is a wonderful track to follow. I mean, they're brilliant, but I don't have to follow it. It's like quantum physics. I am so fascinated by quantum physics and how it works, but only from the philosophical point. I have no interest in going down into the math and getting down into those deep maths that there are. I trust that the maths are being done by those, but I also want to know what's my lesson here.
Well, and a lot of times they go down the rabbit hole of the math, and suddenly you're into spirituality. Like, oh, that thing that it looks dead is not dead. It's actually moving. Oh, that's weird. And that's Taoism. I mean, that's, you know, the further they go into physics, the more spirituality and science are in the same universe.
Absolutely, because if there was, I mean, this is where I love when I grew up, I came out of the mystical wing of Christianity. So this is the Christian Scientists and you know, these are some really radical dudes, right? I mean, and dudettes, and
girls.
This is Mary Baker Eddy. I mean, for God's sake,
she was a radical dude for sure.
I'm telling you, here she is. Like in 1850 something, she's a single mom out in like Kansas, and before she's 80, she's founded one of the great religions of the world, one of the great newspapers. The Christian Science Monitor at one time was we're talking about a badass newspaper.
Right,
this is
no
one that
question.
was how did it at that time?
Yeah.
And then she spawned all down there, you know, Emma Curtis Hopkins and Ernest Holmes and all the teachers that came out of that mystical wing. So that's, I mean, it's an extraordinary.
There's tons of people like that.
I know.
Margaret Fuller.
Oh God, yes.
Mercy. You know, where they're so far ahead of their time. It's like how that they weren't locked up in a madhouse is amazing.
Yeah. And that's what I love about the diversity of the diversity that we're seeing now, because we can actually know that the things that I have no idea about, you can expose me to, and I can go, oh, that's interesting. You know, I never thought about it that way. I never looked at it from another point. I don't have to defend my damn point of view so much. What is the expression?
It doesn't have to be a war.
Would you rather be right or happy?
I would rather the planet was here long after I'm gone.
Do you think that because because I'm an executive coach as part of what I'm doing to crowdfund my life, is that I work on a communication coaching, and so I work with a lot of capitalists. So a lot of people within the capitalist system, but I'm seeing a rise in there, a sense of conscious capitalism, a sense of that there are more than just red and black as the bottom lines.
Yes.
There are green, there are rainbow, there's all the value proposition of diversity and inclusion and interest and being part of a good corporate citizen.
Yeah. I mean, having sustainable values is like one of the values
Exactly.
that the planet's still here after you're dead. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, that's a major
And
value.
we helped it happen, and we
Yeah.
helped it be part of this, so
Yeah.
that we could go ahead and do it. I mean, that excites me.
Yeah.
That's the
Me
kind
too.
of thing that, and so we're doing, well, would you play us out? Would you play us, you got something
Yeah,
there that you can?
This song's called Singing with the Red Wolves, and the Red Wolves are the wolves of the Eastern America.
Yeah.
They got down to where there were only 17 of them in the world. So now there's about 600. They've reintroduced them in the Smoky Mountains or whatever.
Go
but
for it.
Here you go. When I wake up, there's a question in my eyes. What am I doing here? Feel the heat of you lying there beside, and I realize love has brought me here. Pass it open all night and pass a highway sign. Slip between the rivers, swim to the other side, and you singing with the red wolves at night. And I singing with the red wolves. Stand at the gate of their pen and I stare inside at a mating pair. Makes me want to cry, but their eyes are calm and they almost smile. The female, she stands on her den and she starts to howl.